Hello, this is whyfixsmartphone.com. Today is something about remote control, auto vehicle remote control, not about the phone. And I think it would be a fun video about fixing the remote control. So I just decided to make a short video about this. A friend of mine asked me actually if I could take a look of the remote control of the car as it was not working. And then obviously you know, I'm the iPhone repair and smartphone repair guy here, so he didn't think of me first and he took it to some other battery shop, and then they tried to replace he thought initially it was a battery, so he tried to replace the battery, but obviously it didn't work. And then they said, you know, something about like a connection was off, something like that. So they tried to do something, but they couldn't figure it out, so he brought it over here to see if I could take a look at it. So which I decided to yes, and then I kind of opened it up already, but I wanted to show you how it looked at it first came out, because none of these buttons really worked even with a new battery, and obviously the guy didn't have a clue how this thing worked. So initially when it first came, brought it here when I opened it up. Alright, here's a simple remote control. The battery is not here already, but anyway, there are 4 buttons and none of them worked even with a new battery. And turns out all the dome that gets pressed down to give a connection to each buttons here is gone. And this is one of the I suspect this is the one of the dome that was in here, and as you can see, it's because the you know, this is kind of older vehicle. This dome has worn out and lost is the stickiness from the adhesives. So this start moving around inside the, you know, the unit, and then wasn't sticking around. And you know, after being pressed 20 times and being opened up, it fell off. And obviously there was only one left inside, and nothing would, you know, obviously it wouldn't work because this is just a rubber pad that gets pressed. So rubber does not transmit electricity, so that was not gonna work. So I mean, this is just a simple PC board with a couple of chips, little transmitter here, and then a battery connector. So there's nothing to it, and basically all you have to do is get these connectors to bridge each other so that it'll function. So then I'm thinking, what can I do to create the connection? Well, obviously I couldn't find these small domes, but then luckily I save all my old phones just in case for like this. So I looked up in my storage, and I guess what I found? These nice old, how old this is, almost over 12 years old Samsung flip phone. And I figured when I was to fix this, it reminded me remind me of the PCB board that I was fixing from these phones here. And I decided to take this apart, and then inside of the under the keypad, because this is basically the same function as these, this is what it looks like, because there's a PCB board and there's a keypad, and all you need to do is this button gets pressed so that it works. So I figured if I cut this out, as I already did it here before, if I cut this out, stick it on here, it'll work, which it did. So I wanted to show you how I did that. So basically I get a nice fine sharp razor blade, and I don't even have to like measure it, I just have to cut it, because it, you know, all you need to do is just get this, cut it up. And then since this is kind of sticky, it's not gonna come off easily without getting ripped, so I didn't want to rip it. So I give a little heat, so that maybe about 100 to 110 degrees Celsius, so it doesn't melt or wrinkle because of the heat. Just gives enough heat to loosen the adhesives. And then just peel it. Comes right off like this. So make sure these 4 points are the one that needs the connectors. The other 3, I don't know, I don't care what it is. So I just will stick it back because it still has the adhesives. So I need to cut 3 more. Doesn't matter as long as I get these old domes to come out clean. Alright, don't need that. Doesn't even have to be pretty. As long as it holds it there. I might just use the little double-sided tape here to make sure it holds it better. Let me see. So I get this little double-sided tape. Make sure the tapes do not cover the connectors. And I stick it on again. Just give a little click to make sure it's there. So this old, board is useless. I mean, this is analog, and nothing gets used by the carriers anymore. This is basically a trash. But obviously there's a use for it. So I save the old devices. If the PCs are still, all the devices are still intact, because I know there are a couple of parts that I can still use nowadays, like these domes, or sometimes even the capacitors. Sometimes those can be used. So there's a bunch of capacitors here. Sometimes the value matches. I can pull it and use it for my other repairs. Alrighty, and I guess I cut this one. Alrighty. Nowadays everything is touch screen, so they don't really have an actual button. So very hard to find. These kind of domes anymore. So it is a good idea to keep the small, phones or whatever. Let's see. So that one there. Nope, I didn't need that. So I need to press it down here. And I just need to move it down here. Yep, this one's moving, so I'll need to get the little adhesives again. Basically, whole point is to just create a contact to bridge, so that it will transmit the signals. Alright, this board. Okay, looks good there. That's not moving. Okay, this one's moving. So I might as well adjust to all the buttons. All right. Okay. Alright, some of the remote control will have a dome like this, and some of the remote control will actually have a button. So if that button goes, I mean, it'll be a little more difficult to repair, because you'll have to solder the you'll have to find the replacement button and then desolder and solder the button back. onto the PCB board. So that's a different story, but anyway, this is a small metal dome. Okay, right, so just before I put the final one, as you can see, this old button is just worn out. I mean, basically there's nothing there anymore to transmit. I mean, you need to have some kind of metal to transmit the electricity, and this is just worn out, nothing there. So that's why, even though this was on there, you know, notice sometimes you have to press it so hard and move it around to get the button working. That's what causes it. And why this happens? Because of the corrosion and moistures and, you know, age and time. So I mean, nothing's forever. And then as you can see, this one here is nice and shiny, it's clean. So this pretty much guarantees this will work. All right, so I press it, make sure I get the click. Good. So, you know, there's some more. I probably not gonna need it, but you know, I still have tons more anyway. I'd probably save it anyway. And then this goes back, make sure it gets aligned. And then, you know, basically you just have to replace the battery. Yep. I can feel the click. Yep. So that's it. So that pretty much guarantees it. So this is how you jimmy rig your remote controls when the buttons do not work. Right? So if you have any questions, send an email, info@ifixsmartphone.com. Thanks for watching.